Kris, good morning. Just wanted to confirm that Alec Regula is he available for tonight?
He's not playing tonight. Stillman will take his place.
All right, with Stillman coming in, what do you like about his game tonight? Will be game number 164 of his NHL career. He's a person who's been there before. Just maybe what you're hoping to see from him tonight.
Just moving the puck easily. I know he's been playing well in Bakersfield. Unfortunately, he had an injury in training camp that he didn't get much opportunity with us to start the season. But for a guy that's he's a little bit plays some physicality, but we want to just keeping his game simple and moving the puck out well. And for a guy who has a little bit of physicality to his game, he does move around the ice pretty well.
All right, you guys are going up against a Bruins squad that is 16-7 in their last 23. It's a little bit of a slower start here this season, but what is the biggest challenge going up against that club?
I think they've been finding ways to score a lot of goals. I think maybe that's in the past, in the last year anyways, that probably wasn't scoring as many goals they'd like to. This year has been much different, and they're getting contributions, obviously, from their first line, with a lot of it with Geeky and Pasternak, but also throughout the rest of their lineup. So, when we looked at how they scored, we're going to have to be ready for that. But and then, I think they've always been known to play pretty good defensively, and so it doesn't, you don't get your opportunities easily.
Frederic just said in there that he's sort of not been able to quite figure out his role here. He wasn't sure exactly what his role was. Do you feel that's accurate, and maybe what do you think the role should be?
Yeah, it's been changed quite a bit from the start of the season, and for a lot of guys, it's been changing. Now that we're 30-some games in, and now we've got a pretty good handle on where our guys should be slotted and where they should be playing. As for Trent Frederic, being on third, fourth line, giving us some physicality, just being an all-around good player. And anytime a new player joins a team, there's always an adjustment period, and sometimes that takes 2 weeks, sometimes 2 months, sometimes it doesn't ever happen. It just takes a while. And we saw it in the past with players that are coming in with Edmonton, and it just never being a fit. But obviously we're committed to Trent. We think he's a good player, and we need to find him a spot where he can help us win.
Kris, league-wide on the power play, where do you see the emphasis in terms of where teams want to be moving the puck to and generating chances from it? We used to see it up at the top or on the half wall.
I think every team's a little bit different. Obviously the goals come from around the net, whether it's a tip or a rebound or making a pass into the slot. But you look at teams and they generate their offense differently. There's some good power play teams, and we just saw this one on the road. Montreal, they're dangerous, making that pass. Guy in the corner having options. Obviously there's some teams that rely on getting the puck over the other side and one-timer. And, I think there's not a one way to do it. Kills are always adjusting. They want to dictate where that puck goes. Do they want to steer it to the wall? Do they want it in the middle? But I don't think there's a set way of this is the way a power play has to work.
Your power play dropped to out of the top 10 by the end of last year. It's number one right now. How much of it was the fact that you didn't have both McDavid and Draisaitl in the lineup at the same time in the final 15 games last year? And how much of it is a little bit of some of the tweaks that have come in with maybe a little bit different vision with Paul McFarland?
Yeah, Paul's been able to add some things to our power play. That group has been together, and Glenn Gulletson did a fantastic job of solidifying that group. I believe it was the year before he took the power play over, it was dead last, and then he built it into being one of the best power plays ever in NHL history. And now Paul's been able to add some other things. Last year, I think there were a couple things where it didn't execute as well as we're normally used to, dropping out of the top 10. But, a lot of that had to do with McDavid and Draisaitl missing the amount of time as they did. Another one was just being missed opportunities because offense generated on the power play. It was better than it was producing, but I think it was a bit of everything.